This is WZRD Chicago 88.3 FM. We have with us at Wizard today a very, very special guest. He is Omar Shareef, the president of the African American Contractors Association. And we have a second guest interviewer on the show. He is Bill Morton, president of the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce. So today, of course, is a very, very special holiday, the Martin Luther King Jr. Day. And then this is a federal holiday falling on the third Monday of every January. The day celebrates King's birthday, honors his legacy, and shines a light on civil rights. King was assassinated in April of 1968 on a motel balcony in Memphis. On November 2nd, 1983, President Ronald Reagan signed a bill marking the third Monday of every January as Martin Luther King Jr. Day. King was born on January 15, 1929. The holiday was approved as a federal holiday in 1983, becoming the first federal holiday honoring an African American. Since then, many individuals and businesses have used today to give back through public service. Is the post office open? Will packages be delivered? Well, the U.S. Postal Service is closed in observance of Martin Luther King Jr. Day. UPS will remain open. FedEx will be operational with modified service to Federal Express and Federal Express Smart Post. Okay, welcome so much, Omar. How are you today? And welcome, Bill.
And thank you for having me.
So first of all, Omar, how did the African American Contractors Association become established?
Well, it came established in 1989 by the help of the Chicago Urban League in Chicago on 45th and Michigan, which was at that time the Affirmative Action Division was headed up by a gentleman by the name of Mr. Taylor Cotton under the leadership of Jim Compton.
Mm-hmm. So what in your background helped you establish the African American Contractors Association?
Well, I actually, ACA, the African American Contract Association, started in 1989.
Mm-hmm.
I was around the construction industry for probably better than 10 years, working with the Chicago Urban League, Black Contractors United, and just being a helper, just being a volunteer, just being a gopher, just wanted to help, and admired the African American men that was in the industry. At that time, when I was a young boy, the only ones that was in the industry that I looked up to, Bill, was actually C.F. Moore, C.F. Moore Construction Company, Ernie Bush, and Robert Morton, as African American men that was building in the community, building the Jewels, building the Dominic stores, building the high-rise buildings as well as the single family and the three-story buildings in our community, in the African American community. And I was just admired by the whole gizmo of them talking about construction, these major dollars, and actually seeing them handle major dollars. Mm-hmm. At one point, C.F. Moore became a board member of the Highland Bank. Mm-hmm. And so as a young man coming out of the city, coming from the city of Chicago, from South Shore High School, and really my major was business marketing, and I was just interested, I was just fascinated over the whole thing about construction and how it tied into business, where it can actually help people come from rags to riches.
Mm-hmm. So you started as a volunteer, and you're inspired by development of housing and business.
Yes, I was inspired by it because I saw these guys actually physically building these buildings. The Urban League where it sits now, Ernie Bush built that building. The building, high-rise condominium building on 31st and King Drive that sits adjacent to Dunbar High School Vocational School Robert Morton built that building, so I can identify a lot of those type of things that makes one very inspired, like a person myself coming from humble beginnings.
Did you have a mentor?
Yeah, my mentor was Taylor Cotton.
So what did he teach you?
Well, he taught me definitely discipline and always write and present programs to the institution that you challenge. But you also got to know what your solution going to be when you introduce that to them. It cannot be that you'll put a program in front of someone and don't know what your level of accomplishment is going to be. So I say that to any young men, women, or whatever, to always, when you put together a program, understand the program you present to your superior and know what your results going to be. Sometimes people throw, as they say, throw mud on the wall and see if it sticks. In this case, you want to make sure, if you're the engineer of it, make sure that you know what the results going to be.
How do you put together a plan B and a plan C?
Well, you always do that. I learned that from C.F. Moore. C.F. Moore used to tell these stories, right? He used to tell these stories about how to accomplish a goal when you're in the industry. He was a bricklayer. He dealt with cement. He had 4 airplanes, private jets. I rode on one. I was privileged to ride on one for the first time in my life, right? And so he was telling these stories about, he says it with a lot of, not so confidence, I won't say arrogantness, but confidence that, hey, when I'm pouring some concrete on the highway and pouring X amount of yards of concrete, and I got a generator out there, and that doggone generator breaks down, guess what? I'm gonna have another backup generator. And so what that taught me is that it taught me how to organize where that is your A and B and C plan, is that this be my A plan, this gonna be my B plan, and this happened to be the C plan. Let me tell you what happened to me. Excuse me, ACA had an event, right? And we thought we planned everything. We had Tony Brown come from out of New York, all right? Tony Brown Journal at that time, you probably know about. But anyway, he came out of New York. We hired a band, we hired a photographer, we hired a videographer and all this, right? What happened was that the band guy didn't show up. And we did not have no music, and we did not have nobody to take pictures. So what did we do? So I was, at that time, I think it was Troy Ratcliffe. He said, Omar, your event is so nice, people don't even know you're supposed to have a band. But from that point on, I always had a DJ and a band at my events. So if the DJ don't show up, we got the band. If the band don't show up, we got the DJ. That way you always have some type of sound when you're operating. Same thing with the video. If the video don't be there, at least I have some still photo that I could turn into a video.
Right.
You follow me? So you always got to have a backup plan, even when you're dealing with banquets, cooking, organizing. How you going to get there? Yes, I got a spare tire, but if I have a AAA car, I can get somebody else to come out and change the tire. You see, and I try to teach these young men and women how to deal with critical thinking, because that's very important in our day and time. We can't just panic and say, oh, what we gonna do? If we say, what we gonna do under Trump? Heck, we had worse under Reagan and Bush. I'm saying, so you got to figure out, if you made it through those storms, you can make it through the other storms, And that's how you got to think as a person out here and living the life and fending for yourself as a college student, as an adult, as just a business person. You will have to apply those principles.
How do you find your interns, the young college students that you train and help?
Well, some come to me. The universities sometimes reach out. One time, DePaul University on, I think it was on Van Buren at that time, their satellite office, dealing with training and dealing with interns for jobs. And we took 25 of them. And these young interns, we had to put them with mentors. And we had some within construction, some within architecture, CAD, and other trades. And we had to place those 25 people, men and women, that come out of these low polished areas, that we had to place them with some established general contractor, established architects, established painters. And right now, I could say Pierce is now the head manager on North Avenue at Menards in the construction division. Some of the other young guys came up and they started their own company. So, you know, and that's how you basically reach and touch someone and pull them up. It's not so much as to think about how we can lock them up or why the crime rate is where it is. We have to be able to reach these young men and women and show them that they don't have to go that route, but they can go the route of being a respectable citizen. And once you do that, I think they'll understand it. Just back here in Christmas time, Reverend Jackson bailed out 3 or 4 young men that had low offense in the Cook County Jail. He asked me to mentor them in the program that he helped me establish, called it From Jails to Jobs. Jails to Jobs help men and women get a flagger's certificate from the National Flaggers Council, and they make anywhere from $45, $70 an hour on up as a laborer. And that's just waving the flag, stop and go, that you see on the highways that you and I travel, or you just seeing it out there as you riding the bus or whatever the case is. You see those flaggers, those are flaggers. They make that type of money. Not only that, they get pension, they get dental, medical. And I'm telling the young man, he said, Omar, he said, this is better than just staying on the streets trying to hustle. I said, yes. I said, you can't beat this hustle. This is the way you American hustle. This is the American hustle, you know. This is what everybody do.
Yeah, well, I'm so glad you told me what a flagger is. That was my next question.
I was over in north of Howard area, and I was speaking with some people who were hustling, and they said they'd rather not do that. They'd rather have a better option.
That's right.
They asked me, Bill, could you get us a job? What are you doing for our community, especially in the north of Howard area?
Right. I would love to go there. I go to Caribbean Bakery all the time over there.
I love it.
So
you know Michael.
Yeah, that's right. I go to the Brazilian place down the street from there around the corner. Those are my area. I've been going there for a long time. When we first lived in Hyde Park, my brother come home from Howard University, and he said, you want to go on Howard? I'll be like, yeah. And let me tell you a story. One day, I'll call myself treating somebody, Bill, right? And this was the day that the bakery burnt down. So I turns the corner, so now I see all these blue horses out there, these cars out, these lights. I said, what the hell that happened here? It burnt down. I was so terrible. I said, man, I don't even know where we could eat at now. This took the whole taste out of my mouth. But thank God it's back up and running, and it's on the same area corner. And I love going there.
Oh yeah. Those meat. Those
meat
patties.
That's what I go there for.
And we get the cocktail ones. And
Yeah,
Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I saw that they had those. I want to try to start getting those.
Yeah, the chicken, the beef.
Yeah, I want to try to start getting those. Yeah,
they're a little spicy sometimes.
Yeah, they are. I like spices once in a while, not all the time, and not the first thing in the morning anyway.
How many members does the association have?
The association originally started as the Urban League with 3 members. Okay, it was a guy named Dennis, Elliot, and myself. Elliot came there with his wife, complaining to the Chicago Urban League that they are chasing all the work in the downtown area. At that time, Chicago Urban League Affirmative Action Division basically had consultants of every developer that was building a high-rise building in the downtown area. I'm saying GS building, AT&T building, the Bar Association, all the buildings that Standard Oil building when they was building it, when the Hyatt changed their whole look, when the Hilton changed their whole look, Reverend Butler did the carpet, and I can't think of the black artists that did some of the black sculptures and arts works that was placed into the Hilton. But my point is that they was chasing all of that work in the downtown area, right? And so Elliot was like, what are y'all doing in our own backyard? And so Taylor Cotton, being as witty as he is, he said, we're not really doing anything. But he said, I tell you what, he said all the monies in the business that we get from downtown, I would chart out, earmark some of that money to go towards looking into those communities. And so, but you guys got to do what you need to do for I can do what I need to do to help you. And that was that he gave us the task that we had to find out where the project was, who the developer, what ward it was in, what district it was in, what precinct it was in, who's the financer. And he said that we would do the letter writing for you guys. He said, if you find out all these principles, and so we call that the ACCA's identification sheet. And so we still use that sheet right now.
Oh, that's the basic.
Yeah, it's a basic principle. And anybody that's looking for a project, if it's a chamber, community organization, or block club, those are the things that you look for. The name of the project, who's the developer, because see, sometimes being a developer, it may have about 4 different developers connected into that one project. You know what I'm saying? Like for instance, that comes up, Related Midwest may have them involved. You may have Sterling Bay involved with it as a partner, or it may be partnering on the financing. You may have a Bank of America. You may have Chase Bank involved. You may have IDA funds involved. You may have, now the union got this fund that they give money to developers. So you may have 4 different funders involved. So that means you got to write 4 different letters. And why you do that is that you try to hit the vital points of the owner to let him know that you're not just talking or sending a letter to him, or it's not falling on deaf doors. It's falling on the doors of people that understand that if the community's saying that they're being shut out, locked out, or blocked out of opportunities, where there's somebody in Bill's community actually has the right skill, talent, and ready to go, he or she should get an opportunity to look into that. You see, because I always say, my theory when I'm talking to developers and contractors, Bill, I always say that it's like civilization in the days of when there was a cowboy. You saw a cowboy movie where they got just the people in the community just making it on cows, horses, or whatever. Now these people say, oh, we finna bring a railroad in. All right. That railroad is representative of economic development. And as economic development is coming into that community, that means what? It doesn't mean the people get poor. It means that the people should be thriving and should rejoice, because now the department store, the general store should be operating a little better. The bank should be operating a little better. The newsman, the one little newsman should write more stories now. You follow what I'm saying?
Right.
And so in the people that don't have a job, now they should be able to have a job. They help this railroad come into their community. So when I see development, I look at developments like that, because anytime a development comes in your community and the people, indigenous people, don't benefit, that's wrong.
That's right.
And it's bad. And it does not give the right look. It's all right to have a partner. I don't care where they may come from, but you want to have that developer come in, but the community need to be involved.
Absolutely.
I don't care if
it's about us, without us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And that's what happens a lot of times. And so now we sitting out, your constituent, my constituents are now sitting out looking at a development in a community that I'm not partaking in. And that's not right. It's one thing, I think his name was Robert Sachs. I can't remember his name right now, but he was one of the principal of Helene Curtis hair salon, right? He had a place on North Avenue, his plant, and we met him. And he said that, Omar, why do you think you don't see no graffiti on our building? He said, why do you think you don't see nobody hanging around this whole square 2 or 3 blocks in our community? I said, no, why is it? He said, because we hire these kids' parents.
Mm.
And he said these kids' parents are the ones that buy them gym shoes, buy them clothes. So they're not going to let a bad Marcus or bad John or bad Sam write on the walls or tear up the gates here.
Mm.
Because that's their way of getting their new pair of Nike gym shoes or PF Fly, whatever the heck you may call them, you know. That's their way of getting their clothing for their family, and they're not going to allow you to mess up where their mother or father work at.
Mm-hmm.
And he said that's why.
Mhm.
And that's the same type of civilization. If an industry comes in your community, the people in that community should have the first look.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't get mad if I go to Pilsen and seeing most of the people from that community working. That's where it should be. It should be that way from the north side to the south side to the east side to the west side.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
And why these elected officials, since you're going into elected politics, but why these elected officials are not thinking that way, it bugs me.
Mm-hmm.
It really bugs me, and it really I used to like politics back in the day. I really don't like it like I used to like.
Mm-hmm.
Because it doesn't seem that they serve the people.
Mm-hmm.
I think a block leader, a community organizer, or community association or chamber, any of those things, to me, serve the community better than elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
But
Very
you know
often.
why? Yeah,
Very
because
often.
see, they talking to the people at all times.
Mm-hmm.
If something's not going right in the business, they calling their chamber.
Mm-hmm.
If something's not going right in the construction, they always calling me.
Mm-hmm.
And I say, you got to help me to help you, but I don't mind helping you even if you don't pay the membership, but I'm going to help
Mhm.
you faster if you pay the membership.
Mm-hmm.
Because that helps us stay alive and stay vibrant.
Absolutely.
You know, if we don't reach out, we can't connect with people like yourself.
This is the Wizard, WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM.
Now you're right
Again,
on. You're
we
right
have-
on at that point.
Again,
Mhm.
we have with us at the studio Omar Shareef, President of the African American Contractors Association, and Bill Morton, a co-interviewer from the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, its president.
So a lot of times, with the former alderman in the 49th Ward and the current one now, when they don't, answer the phone, when they don't take care of the business, they come right to us, the Rogers Park Chamber of Commerce, and we do what we can
That's
to
right.
take care of the business. And I think that's exactly what
That's
your point
right.
is.
And we have to collaborate more and work together more. And I really do, that you reached out. Because, see, that's the only way that some of the same ills and issues that you guys have, we have the same ones. We may not be the same complaint, but we got the same problem.
Absolutely.
We got the same problem. And so there's no way in the world that you cannot sympathize with that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And when you say that you don't like politics anymore, has politics changed, or is it that you just understand it better now?
That's a good point. I think both, but I think it's more that I understand it better.
Mm-hmm.
I'm more in the sense of more of an independent.
Mm-hmm.
The reason why I say that, because I have had good Republicans have helped me,
Mm-hmm.
and I've had maybe less than 4 good Democrats help me.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had more good Republicans help me than Democrats. You follow me? So I just look at a person for the content in their heart and their goal.
Mm-hmm.
You know.
So you can cross the aisle either way as
Yeah,
long as they're
yeah.
getting the job done.
That's absolutely. That's where I'm at. That's really where I'm at. And you know what bugs me too? I was just one of the business people offered that's staunch Democrat, right? I said, Dad, how you a staunch Democrat and you got Uline products all through your place? He said, what are you talking about? I said, Uline is a big Republican out of Wisconsin somewhere. And I said, you help funding the Republicans when you purchase their goods. I'm a person that believe in self-efficiency, where that if you're a member of mine, I'm going to support you
Right.
in return, because I know the money you're spending with me is going to go to a good cause.
Mm-hmm.
Where that, you see that I have had more friendly bankers that was Republican that have helped the association, really I have, than I have had Democrats. And actually, I'm gonna tell you the truth. When Pat Quinn was the treasurer, he was the only treasurer that really helped the African American contractors move from off one needle to the next. And I'm gonna tell you what he did. He helped put over $100,000 at that time in Evergreen Bank with Mr. Ozinger. He have helped put over, I think, over $500,000 bank in New Asia Bank in Chinatown. It was New Asia Bank with Mr. Ben Wong, and Jack Lavett was his point person for that. And I'm a witness to that because I was there helping get it instituted. And so when you see those type of things done, I don't see that being done now with our legislators. And that's where I have issue, and I have concern with people want me to be on one side or the other, you know. And I have had some of the Republican guys call me up and say, "Oh my, these opportunities available." I had some Democrat guys not call me at all.
Yeah.
So how do you judge that, you know? And then I tell them it's like a bunch of flowers, because I say I don't like judging no one. The reason why, because when I go pick the flowers, I don't go pick just the black flowers. I pick the red, green, blue, because mama like all colors. So I pick them all, you know. And then when your body is ailing, or your mother, father, sister, or baby is suffering with a cancer or illness that a doctor got to extract from you, you don't ask that doctor what party he's affiliated with. You just say he's a good doctor if he does the surgery well. And that's all we should be. And that's how I kind of look at things. I don't look at it, you know, everybody like got these lines. I be like, man, no wonder we can't get nothing done.
It gets in the way.
Yeah, I really do.
Well, we're talking about like the House and the Senate.
Good point. Good point. Good point.
When you started the association, what was the first major accomplishment for the African American Contractors Association?
That's a good, interesting one. I'll tell you the story about that. The first project was Parkway Garden on 63rd in Kings Drive. It was owned or purchased by Loretta Caldwell out of California. The general contractor was Miller Davis out of Michigan. We busted open to the point of those things I told you we had to do: identify the development, identify the project, identify everything, right? And let me tell you what happened. What we found out that the Congress person that was in office, I think it was Charlie Hayes at the time, African American guy, he gave them a letter saying they could get that property for $1. Without any what you would say strengths on it. You know what I'm saying? Saying you need to help the community, or you need to put $1,000 into a scholarship for one student. They didn't do any of it. And then we found out Cecil Partee, I'm not for sure, but it's in the record. I think he got $300,000 or $600,000 for a consultant for helping lobby for that to get that for $1.
Right.
And then it showed a whole nother list of organizations, civil rights organizations, signed off on that it was good that she could get this property with no restraints, none whatsoever, and 100% African Americans over there.
So it sounds like the profit is coming in, but no community benefits agreements.
No, none,
nothing like that.
Zero. And so what happened was that if it wasn't for the Chicago Urban League, and may God be pleased with Taylor Cotton, he's deceased, that he wrote up a program for that development. That at that time that was able to put African American concrete guys over there, window installer, painters, HVAC companies, and all of that. Richard Smith made so much money on HVAC that he actually made so much money that he went out of business and started his own other kind of business.
Wow.
Yeah. He made that much money. He made $300,000 profit. and he was a union guy, but he took his other crew and went in there and did the job after hours, and he made a lot of money.
Well, the thing when you put money into a community, by shopping local or local developments and
That's
hiring
right.
local people, local workers, it circulates at least 7 times.
It circulates, and then you can take a young man, a young woman, or whatever you got, and show them the development. 95th and Ashland, the Jewels there. All right, we had to shut that Jewels down over there in 35th Street, over in Bobby Rush's ward in Lake Meadow. But they got the point that they said we're gonna make sure we can put many African Americans as possible on 95th and Ashland. And I go in there right now. I could take your daughter, my daughter in there, somewhere, and show them everything that African American did. I say, you see these lights over this produce? Elliott Electric did those. I said, that's why them fruits look real nice and shiny, because that light shining real nice on. I say, you go in their bathroom. I said, Elaine Scott, tile setter did that. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I say, you see the paint on the wall? I said, Dalvin Sanders painted and sprayed the whole wall. You understand what I'm saying?
Yes.
If you go, you see them working on the phones and the intercom. I say, Bonaparte Connection installed the low voltage here. And see, that makes a difference that I can tell people that. But if you ask me about a lot of these other developments, I'd be hard pressed to tell you who did it. You know, and you could rest for sure it's nobody from your community. And when I'm telling these kids that they know the people, so it all start connecting. They connect the dots. But if they don't know who's doing what in your community, how you gonna connect the dots?
When you got that property for $1, those other organizations, they provided the backup to.
Yeah, they gave a letter of consent.
I see.
Just like you or Bill say, hey, I want that property over there, and you lobby your state legislator, you lobby the other community organization that they respectfully respect those people. You lobby the congressperson, you know, and they send you a letter on your behalf and saying that you should be able to get this to develop it for your community, and they get it.
And explaining this to us.
Yeah.
This is
well, it's stuff that if you're not doing it, you can do it, and this is just how they do it all over the place. Why do you think the developers be so nice to you when they want something? Once they give it to you, they quit giving to your organization, quit helping you and everything. They got what they want.
or they won't tell you the truth.
That's right.
Community meeting.
It's right. You absolutely. They won't definitely not gonna do it. And then let me tell you those stories. Not take your time, but it's like. These guys, I have worked for politicians before. They're some of the nicest people when they're trying to get in office. But once they get in office, it's back to business as usual. When you're working for them, campaign for them, come on in, Omar, come on in, come right in, some donuts there, some coffee. You want something to eat? Come on, you know. But once they get in, oh, excuse me, Omar, do you have an appointment now? The whole mannerism changes. It shifts. If you ain't never worked on a campaign, you don't know it. But if you have worked on a campaign, you can get what I'm saying. You darn near got to remind them who you are while you're talking to the receptionist. Or you got to tell them, just tell them so-and-so called. Since you don't know me, tell them so-and-so called. Because I'm not going to keep calling, going to a brick wall. And they do that.
Right.
And
they should remember where they came from.
That's absolutely. They should give the people a list. If these type of organizations call, make sure we get through with them and don't be disruptive, don't be disrespectful.
Do you know of any politicians that do remember the roots?
I can't say they don't remember their roots. What I mean by roots is that I have a different philosophy in that. Some people just say, well, if he's African American, is he setting up some goals or some programs for African American? My theory is that, and I tell them this all the time, I need to see the same vigorousness that you do campaigning, you do to tell me about the opportunities. You follow what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
So say if you just heard them giving all this money to Comcast and to all these highfalutin communications places, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why can't they give Northeastern some? Why can't they call you up and say, you know the young lady that's over there, the communication you're working with, tell her that it's a grant available for more high-tech equipment. It's a grant available for some internship. It's a grant available for this. This is where I have issues at. Because my thing is that if I'm giving my soul, time, and energy to you at free and no cost and no, no attachments, and when it's only opportunities available, I just need you to just let me know. I'm not asking for no under the table stuff. I'm asking for over the table like every other American and every other citizen get. But at least let me know about it. Don't find out about it and then you trying to figure out how you can research it, or you trying to make sure you spread it to some other people that really haven't been supporting you like me. That's where I have issues.
So right now there aren't really any politicians that remain true to you, remain true to the spirit of being a good politician that helps the community.
It looks really bleak to me.
So that is why you don't like politics anymore.
Well, it just looks bleak all over the place. I'm saying to the ones I hear, the ones that support people, they have, and I'm talking about they give them radio time, they give them TV time, they give them the mic and everything, and they don't do enough. So I just see it throughout. I see a politician yesterday, I need your support. Hell, but when you was in this department, I never heard from you. So I'm trying to figure it out. What makes you so important to me now?
So for the African American Contractors Association, what was the first defeat that you had, and how did you progress over that?
The first defeat, that's a good point. The first defeat we had was trying to bring all the groups together under one umbrella. And what I mean by that is that it's like, you're a contractor, I'm African American, and so you're trying to bring everybody under one banner. Just like, and even if you're not under one banner, let's talk more frequently than not. And that be the problem with a lot of us. I come out of Luke College student government in city colleges of Chicago, right? And so back then, when we had Oscar Shabbat, Roteller, and those guys in position downtown at city colleges, we always talked to all the other student leaders. We always talked to Truman, to Wright College, to Olive Harvey, to Daly, to Kennedy King, So we always talked to all these places, and we are organized under one banner. But saying like when I came into the real world of life, other than student life, it was like everybody was like, you get yours, I'm gonna just get mine type, and that's a very hard, it's a hard lesson, but I've learned it and I see so much of it now in different parts of my community, and that to the point that you got developers, contractors, they play on it.
So it sounds like you're talking about competition for grants in the nonprofit sector. You're talking about competition for business with the corporations. You're talking about niches. You're talking about people not being inclusive and not working together.
That's right. Absolutely. You're right. And that happens on a lot of levels.
So some segments play other segments against each other to their own benefit.
Oh yeah, they do that good. Sometimes here you can be working on a project, and this developer knowing that you are more stern than the next guy or woman, right? And they would try to usurp and go under you to pull some of them people from around you.
I see.
Yeah. They would do that. And so I'm saying here, you got me or Bill or somebody trying to push forward to get this deal. We almost at the door getting it done. They hadn't reached around the corner, then pulled all the oxygen out of your whole project.
so that they could get it for their own or for someone
or
that's
just
connected
or
with
just
them.
to kill it, or just to kill the deal.
And how does that benefit them? Because they have another deal that
Well, it sometimes people benefit from just your demise.
I see.
Sometimes they don't get nothing out of it. They just want to see you succeed.
Mhm. Because let's say because you're trying to help the community and they're not, and since you are there, you're in the way of what they want to do
I
to make
just
money.
and I just experienced that 2 or 3 weeks ago. Young guys from the community, from the street, set up a meeting for them in the community with the head people, right?
Mhm.
Now, my email said from one time to the other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, they didn't went around and got another time. So I'm there for my regular time that the email said.
Mhm.
The lady said, "Oh my, the meeting is over with." I said, "The meeting's over with."
I've seen that in city council chambers. I've seen that one.
The meeting's over with.
Yeah.
It did, see, and Bill can concur with this because, see, he represents the chamber. Those guys, I represent contract. Those guys got much more money than me, definitely me, right? And probably with Bill because they got a business doing all this other stuff, right? And so they don't like the fact that Bill can pick up the phone and get the person that's in charge immediately. Whether they had to run around like cat chasing their tail or dog chasing their tail type, right? They don't like that. So they feel they want both of it. They want, since they got the money, they want also the clout to pick the phone up and the person answer. They don't answer and they don't respect them like they respect Bill. They don't answer the contractor like they respect me. Tell you an example what happened. This was, I think it was last year. I'm in his dirty parking lot, his dirty yard, construction yard, masonry guy. And so he's like, Omar, he said, so I goes in his trailer. I said, "Hey, how you doing?" Speak to the secretary. He said, "What's going on?" He said, "Man, I ain't doing good." I said, "Why you not doing good?" He said, "XYZ company is not paying me my money." I said, "What you mean they're not paying?" I said, "Did you do the work?" "Yes, I did the work." "He won't answer the phone, Omar." I said, "He won't answer the phone." I said, "That's some strange stuff to me." I said, "Hell, he answers the phone when I call every time." "Yeah, Omar, what's going on? What's happening?" And so I said, "Let me call him." And so now I'm calling him on my phone, on the speaker, told the guy don't say nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So I called him. He said, "Omar, may I help you?" And so the guy blows up, "Oh, you gonna answer on my call, but you ain't gonna answer my call, you owe me money." I said, "What did you just do that for?" I said, "Why would you do that?" And so I just told him, I said, I didn't know he was walking up here, whatever, right? And so in the instant, I told him that, and I got off the phone with the contractor. I said, "Why would you do something like that? You're going to ask me to find out about your money, which we got his money for, but these type of things are so embarrassing. You trying to help somebody, so it almost, if you didn't have faith in what you're doing, and if you wasn't on a real mission to help people, you'll really turn them away. And so I don't even get mad no more like that with people, because it just shows me what I'm dealing with. And so in your travel as a upcoming politician or professor in political science, you're going to experience some of those same things, and you're going to have to tread through them. And as the old timers say, you're going to have to fly with the eagle and not hang out with the buzzards.
So,
because you know what buzzards do, right?
they feed on carrion.
That's right. With people that dead and they eat the parts off them while they ain't there.
Mm-hmm.
They don't bother them while they lie.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how people do.
Mm-hmm.
Kick them while they're down.
Yes, sir.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So how do you address those people then? How do you move forward when you have to deal with those people and then you still need to get a project done?
Well, I hit them with more love and more determination than what they ever seen.
And that works?
It works for me, yeah. I'm saying it works because, see, once people a couple of contractors say, Omar, when you get determined, you determined. Or when you get focused on things, you focus. That's like, for instance, with the partnership with Rainbow Porch and ACA, Reverend Jackson, probably 15, 17 years ago, gave me a mission to help contractors, and we called it Contractor Day. Every July, we bring a group together, contractors from all over the city and from different states and different places. You know, may have you guys did next year. But what I'm saying is that we bring them together to talk about issues, concerns, and plights that we have in our community and what goes on in the overall world that we all live in, right? And he said, Omar, he said, I said, Reverend, I don't want to do it. These guys will be jealous and this and he said, they're not going to do it and keep it going. You will. And the same thing with Compton. Jim Compton, when they gave us helped us develop the African American Contract Association. I told him I don't want to do it. He said, no, you more determined you would do it and follow through. I didn't know I'd be doing this for the rest of my life. Honest to God, honest to God, I did not. Honest to God, I sit here and tell you the truth. I did not know this is what I'd be doing the rest of my life, but I love what I'm doing. Congressman Rush, he said, Omar, I know I give you the project. That's how I became his chairman when he ran for congressional, for the first congressional district, and his ward president, because I helped organize his organization that wasn't at that time quite organized. You know, and so I didn't want to do it, but he told me to do it. I was voted by Coalition for Ethnic Heritage Coalition. It was called Ethnic Heritage Coalition. And they voted on me. They called me and said, "Oh my, you voted the chairman." I said, "How the hell I voted the chairman? I wasn't there." They said, "We knew you could do it." And so I was chair for them for 3 years. I had to go to the Indian powwow. I went to the Filipino balls on Friday night. I went to the Irish dancing up north, up here on, I think off of Montrose and also in Rosemont. I did so much, but you know what it did for me? It helped expanded my whole horizon.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I had to go deal with the Polish people. I had to deal with a whole segment of people that I was stuck in my own world as an African American man that I did not know. But thank God that my mother somewhat raised me in Hyde Park, where I didn't know nothing about nepotism, racism, or cronyism back then, because in Hyde Park when I was raised, everybody was just treated the same way. You know, we lived on one side of us, we lived by some Japanese people. On the other side, we lived by some Nigerian people. And across the street, it was some Swedish people. And then down the street was some hippies. And the other side was some Jewish people. So, you know, and everybody just, when we was that young, everybody just treated each other family. If somebody mother make cookies, they give us the cookies. If somebody making pizza, she'll make pizza, you know, for everybody in the neighborhood.
That's diversity.
Yeah, I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. So I didn't know about all this other stuff until my mother ended up moving out of Hyde Park because they was trying to gentrify, take it over for the hospital. I didn't know nothing about no racism and all that. It freaked me out.
How has the business climate changed for African American contractors?
Well, it has changed a lot. It changed a lot. African Americans are getting some work. I think they're getting more work in their community than they are getting in the downtown market. We probably know more than 1 to 2% in the downtown market, where the Hispanics are probably a good 30-40% strong in the downtown and in the inner community. And I think some of the reasons are that, again, we don't congregate and talk like we used to. And I think we grow, somehow they tricked us, they bamboozled us.
How so?
They bamboozled us, making we thinking that we have something that we really don't have. And what I mean by that is that, you know, here we are in a community, and we can't get a lot of the work from your community, you know. And then the other end, the other people that's in those communities, or that's not in the community, they get more work out of the community than you do. So back again, you know
why?
what?
Is it maybe on account of kickbacks or something like that?
It may be that, but it's also our political friends that we get so-called representatives. And Chicago is a very political town. I think other towns are political too, to a degree, but Chicago is very politicized. I don't think you can't really put up a good fight if you use everybody that you get in the fight from Chicago.
So you mean that?
You looked at where you want to know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think that when you're trying to work with people in Chicago, they don't dedicate their heart to really working with you to get the job done.
No, they work. They work with you, but Chicago is so politically connected. That's one thing I can say the brilliance about Mayor Richard M. Daley. That and actually I probably think he probably was the best one out of them. That he knew that in order for him to get stuff done, he had to reach beyond Chicago. All right, because everybody's connected. So what happens if everybody's connected, you run into a stone wall, and you don't have a firewall. And if you into politics, you understand about firewall, right? Which means you don't let nothing in, right? Okay, so this was the brilliance of him, that he got people that we thought he would be putting in place wasn't going to be the people that was in place. If he gets somebody over the park district, it was somebody that we didn't know. If he got somebody in education, it was somebody we didn't know. And so they weren't connected. See, if they weren't connected to me, they would be connected to Bill. Bill wasn't connected to him. They're connected to the former president of the chamber. They're connected to the former Contractors Association. And so we could pick up the phone and make a call. But if he's not connected to nobody, you can't call nobody.
They can't group up on him.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
That was one of my questions, actually. How closely do you work with other African American contractor associations from other major cities or other areas?
Well, we actually just came back from Cleveland, but we established the Rockford African American Contractor Association under Reverend Dotson. His son Earl Dotson Jr. He worked for the Winnebago County Chairman, and then he became a board member under Reimer at the Tollway. We worked with Fred Danage out of Central Illinois, Peoria. So we went around and established quite a few of those groups. We did the same thing in Milwaukee. We did it in Indianapolis, where we worked with the Contractor Association. We actually have established it in Indianapolis, and we started working and talking to the Rolls-Royce Corporation in northern Indiana. We did not. You may think of Rolls-Royce in the sense of vehicles, right? But this was the department that Rolls-Royce organization that worked with the motors and engines of submarines and helicopters. That's what they specialize in. I didn't know that.
Right.
And when we went into their plant, you couldn't take no cell phone. You can take anything. You can take anything in there to into their plant. So you had to check your phone, check everything electronically had to be checked.
Top secret.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. And I didn't even know it said in Indianapolis. The guy set up the meeting for us, Henry Nachi, which he happened to be with HCO architect firm. Yeah, he had 25. He's a Nigerian guy. Had about 25 staff people. And he had set up that meeting for us, and we went and met with them and talked to them about some real opportunity. Yeah.
So how is the climate for African American construction differ in other cities versus Chicago? How much do you know about other cities?
The other cities, St. Louis was an interesting one. Other cities, they have the same issues, but they're not as progressive as Chicago. Chicago, we happen to be some of the leading leaders in Chicago that replicates all over the country, good and bad. Seriously, good and bad. Seriously, we do. And I find that a lot.
You mean in the contracting business?
In mostly, pretty much anything. Anything, yeah. It resonates. What we do here resonates all over the place.
So other areas of the country would make sure that they keep an eye on
Chicago.
what Chicago is doing.
Politically, socially, activistness, all of it.
What is the African American Contractors Association's relationship with the unions now? And how was it in the past as well?
That's a good one. The African American Contractors Association is not anti-union. All right, first of all. We are pro work. We believe that you should have a right to work. Man or female should be able to work on the job site. I met with the AFL-CIO a while back with Carl Adam on Franklin Street a long time ago. And the whole conversation was about how do we get more African Americans into the union? And I told them a long time ago, right, that there's a whole black market of non-union people out here. And they starting to realize it now. But this has been over 10 or 15 years, I told them that, maybe 20, that I told them that. And I was telling them to say to them, if you relax some of your requirements, you can get more with honey. You know what I'm saying?
How were you keeping the African Americans out of the union, and how did that serve them?
Well, you got to understand, most of the unions at that time was ran by Italian guys, some Irish, a few Jewish, but overall, when you say unions, you think more of Italians, right? In that sense, ethnic prejudice or whatever you want to call it. But what happened was that they was basically getting all of their people into the union. You got to understand that when they came here, they came into America and they really built the union as a reflection as America was building its establishment. That's why the union agreement reflects like the United States agreement is, as far as the Davis-Bacon with the hood. It reflects the same type of wager, only a penny or two difference, right? And so what happened with that is that they just made sure they got their people in there. You would have did the same thing if you got here first. I would have did the same thing I got here first. You would did, so it's just, but see, the problem is that they kept it so exclusive and closed up to the point that everything was growing around. I watch a lot of movies, and I'd be watching a movie talking about the resistance and all that type of stuff, and Star Wars, and the dark side and the light side, and a lot of this stuff reminds me of that stuff. You know that? It really reminds me of that. It's like when you push hard as an activist at the chamber with the association, you know what I'm saying? We become somewhat the bad guy, and we be fighting the resistance from coming in to take over.
It's on account of the status quo does not want the status quo changed.
Right, absolutely. If we set it up that way, that's where it maintains. Until it becomes an outroaring of people support. They say, oh, we can reconsider that.
Because what I was thinking was that if the union gets more members and more support, they're stronger. It should be better for them, better than
actually, we having good dialogue with them now, and thanks to Don Bernanke of Related Midwest, and they're getting ready to do this whole 360 thing, which I hope that look like it's going to fan out to be something. But I think they starting to get the message. I was talking to somebody last week. They got to understand it's 25 states that's non-union, and it's about 25 or 23 that's union. So you understand what I'm saying? So the windows is closing on them. So the only thing I could say that they need to look at down the road to be a little more flexible. You know, those are union sons and kids and uncles and nephews that are working those valets. And you ain't paying union fees for that, and they ain't paying union fees for parking your car downtown. Those are union guys, a lot of them. They the sons and daughters of, and the same thing with some of them. They used to be in the vending real big.
When you say that they're not paying union fees, what do you mean by that? That
the guys that's parking your cars are not getting union wages.
I see, but they're paying in union dues.
No,
They're not part of the union.
No, they're not part of the union.
I see.
And if the union were more lenient or more welcoming,
that's right.
Then
like
they would benefit from it.
That's right. Yep, and that's the point.
Are they beginning to realize that now better?
They're coming into it because the baby boomers are leaving, and there's starting to be a void, and there's starting to be a bigger push to see more people of colors into the union. And so they still have a very strong hand in Chicago. And I like them because the fact that's why I don't tell people don't become union, because if you become union and you can get medical, dental, pension, and the guys do 20 years or better, and they can start making $600,000 or $700,000 a month, sitting on their butt or doing some other trade or some other job. That's good stuff. And we have done that. We've been successful. We got a few women that are leading that fight. They got 2 or 3 more years in the union. Got a couple of guys that's not even 50 years old that got 20 years in, getting ready to retire and going to be getting that type of check just sitting at home or go get another job, And so I like that part of the union a lot. Only thing I don't like is that when they see you on the job and they be prejudiced, they write mean things on the drywall. They do mean things like if you know you got to get your towel up on the horse to the 8th or 20th floor, they'll stop at every floor but your floor. And it's nobody that you could call or tell. And now you're killing 3 to 8 people time. And if you're doing that time 5 2 hours a day, that's a lot of hours that somebody's not working.
So
not being productive, you follow me? And that's mean.
So there is racism in the union then.
Yeah, there's a lot of it. And so that part has to have some real cleansing in order for we can have some reconciliation about how the community feel, because a lot of people, that's why they don't want to be in the union, because they feel they're being overtaxed.
You mean that they're paying union dues without getting anything in return?
Yeah, and they're paying too much money and not getting anything in return.
What about the new people coming in? The baby boomers are retiring, and then the new people. Do you see any good new people coming in, or are they still part of?
Yeah, I see some coming, but it's not enough to make a big difference in the industry of Chicago. And that's like some of these majority GCs just here. When they doing work in the suburb, they're not using union. You know what I'm saying? When they in Willowbrook, when they out in Orland, when they out in Tinley Park, or when they out in Barrington and some of these other areas, they're not using all union people.
Because it benefits them.
That's right. And I done been downstate with you in Peoria, Illinois, where it was a union project, and we met with the union about putting some more people on there, and the man that's union said, I'm not going to argue if Fred don't want to be union. He's my neighbor. He said, I got to live with him. Hell, if he working the guys and he paying them good, decent wages, let him do it. I've seen that happen. That's downstate now. That way they Chicago. Chicago, they be all on the head. Then you wonder, And then I'm like, where's the union there when these little small projects be going up and they don't fight them, but it seems like they'll be all over the people when these high visibility projects are there.
Mm-hmm.
Cause you probably see that in your own community. You drive and see some project going. Say, hell, where the union at now?
Right.
They ain't nowhere around. They don't bring the little red around. They don't bring the big red. They don't bring the mama red around. Nobody.
What is the red now again?
They have these rats. They got names, actually real. They named them. Cause I think one guy got mad and poked it, and so the union sued this guy, this contractor. But I can't even think of the rat's name. They got these big gigantic rats. You can look online.
Inflatable rats with red eyes.
Yeah, yeah. And they got a yellow one. They got with a tail, all that stuff.
And you see them when there's no union workers
Workers,
working on the
that's
main
right.
job.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Seriously, yeah.
How has federal African American contractors?
I think the federal projects are much flexible and easy for the African American contractors. And for instance, that with the Chicago Housing Authority, they probably have hired more African Americans on projects with the Chicago Housing Authority than any institution in the city of Chicago within the last 2 or 3 years. Yeah, and I'm saying that they have done a yeoman of a job because they have taken the people that lives in those units and placed them into business, and they be the one that renovate the units.
Who's in charge?
At that time, it was Gene Jones. Mysteriously, he ended up abruptly leaving, saying he was leaving.
Mm-hmm.
He came in under Ron Emanuel. To me, that's the best thing Ron Emanuel ever did in my entire life.
And the person after Gene Jones is same dedication to what Gene Jones was doing?
That's a good point. I haven't they haven't even replaced him. They got an acting guy, which was the senior legal person. He's doing a good job. Jim Beverly.
Mm-hmm.
Beverly, yeah. He's doing a good job. And they have a African American chair lady that have worked for Bethel New Life and some in the 10th Ward and the 7th Ward area that I can't recall her name, but she's the new chairperson. Did not have opportunity to meet with her yet, so I don't really know where her goals and ambitions are at and who she really serving, because sometimes we end up serving two masters and get it confused. So, like some elected officials.
Mm-hmm.
They supposed to serve us, but when they get in, they act like we supposed to serve them. So,
Tell us a little bit about your upcoming fundraiser, the 27th Annual African American Contractors Association Membership Awards Gala.
Well, first of all, I want you two to be there and be our guests, and so that you can meet some of those fine, distinguished men and women that are in those communities and network and really rejoice the honoring some of the guests that we have. And the association have been doing the awards event for over 26 years. This is 27th coming up. What we try to do is identify men and women that are cutting edge, going against the grain, trying to make a difference in the community, if it's dealing with economic, socially, politically. And so we do honor political people that we think that's making a major difference or doing some bold statements.
Who recently have you honored in politics?
Oh, we honored quite a few in politics. Danny Davis has been honored. Congressman Rush have been honored. My good ally friend Pat Quinn have been honored. Dorothy Brown have been honored. Quite a few. We quite a few of them. Mayor Daley was our first guest speaker when we kicked off. So we have honored quite a few individuals that have really stood out in making a difference with us in politics, And David Moore been one of the honorees more recently. I think Emil Jones Sr. been one of the honorees, So yeah, I wouldn't call Terry Peters no elected official, but much as he's in the political municipal arena. He act like you. So we honor him. So a lot of.
Well, looking forward to attending.
Yeah. I think you enjoy it. And we try to make it very festive, and having fun and networking, just enjoying and meeting different people in those communities. So, and we really try to reach very far. To be honest, to be honest with you, we honored 1 year Donald Trump.
Oh, for
the Trump Plaza.
I see.
Yeah.
That's
when everybody liked him then.
Mm.
That's when everybody liked him. They didn't realize he'll go. It's almost like you doing what I do now. It's like I just want you to be able to give me money to do what I do. I don't want you to get into what I do. Mm-hmm. And so once he got into what they did, they didn't like him no more. Mm-hmm. All them guys, everybody that on both sides of the street, he was giving them money.
Mm-hmm. How much of African American contracting hiring did he do? Did Trump do?
I think it was McHugh that did that job there. McHugh did well. McHugh is a good corporate partner of ours. Mm-hmm. They are corporate members. They never miss membership. And they have always been sympathetic and open to deal with more inclusions of African Americans. Mm-hmm. But him as a developer bringing the project was good because in return, it went to a good, countable GC that we knew that we'd get some things out of. Mm-hmm. And so at that time, I think, can't think of his last, I think, what was his name? Bruce Lake. Bruce Lake was the president at that time under McHugh. Mm-hmm. And he always been a community person, a Chicago person. Mm-hmm. And that's important. Mm-hmm. And especially when you guys are fiber of Chicago. I've been in Chicago all my life. And so, when you get these guys that are sensitive and understand the diversity in the community, that's one thing that back to Mayor Daley, M. Daley. I used to be on his, what was it? I think Save the Street program and some other program like. Mm-hmm. And he said, I don't even remember how I addressed it to him. But he said, Omar, if you live in that community, we should listen to what you got to say in that community because you know best what's needed in the community.
That's right.
And that was just mind-blowing for me, for him being a Caucasian man, politician at that, because you don't always want to hear the political answer. Mm-hmm. The political record. You need to hear some real answers about your well-being, Right. And that's where another person that we really had looked up to was Maria Paczynski. She was a good person. I hate she got out of politics and went into judgeship, but, she was just a super lady. Mm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And you could tell that she had a real sense of you guys should get some whatever it is that we in office, you should get a share of it. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't like we had to pay her no money or be out on the polls for, all that craziness. Mm-hmm. It was just some fairness.
Right.
And you could preach it down. I could really go out to poll for you down, but because you're showing that you're really sincere about where you're trying to go, not if pretty cool, if you help me, I help you. That's
the way it should be.
That's right.
You should be elected on your works.
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
And that's what make America what it is. It don't make America all this, you help me, I help you. You should do that because we as a community, as a people, elected you to do that.
Yeah. Do you have any advice for our students who want to go into the contracting business or maybe want to start their own firms?
I got some comments for some students that may want to go in politics. Be honest and straight and right to the point. But yes, I do. But I think if you're in business or you have a desire, I started with $100. Understand that. I knocked on every door. I did not turn nobody down. My mother told me, son, don't never be too proud to be able to scrub a floor or wash somebody's toilet. Mm-hmm. And guess what my first job was?
Janitor.
No, clean out a catch basin. Yeah, and I made $75 clean the catch base out.
There you
I was happy as hell I came out of there. I was stinky and all that. But nevertheless, I went home, took a shower back then, put some old English on, took my favorite girl out to Greek Town, and guess what? The next day I looked for some more catch bases.
That's right.
So that's a real story. So you have to be self-determined. You have to really, if it's your career in education, you got to really want it. Can't nobody want it no better than you. You got to want it to the point that you already have achieved it, or you have captured it, and it's just a matter of a signed seal.
So you have to be a go-getter.
Most definitely. But you have to be not just, see, some people go getters and they let obstacles get in their way. They start out, and I always, when I talk publicly to different people, I say it's a difference between a quarter horse and a thoroughbred. You have to be a thoroughbred in this race, in this race of life and establishing yourself. It's nothing wrong with being a dreamer, but don't get caught so much in a dream that you're lured to sleep. You want to be a dreamer that make your dreams a reality. You know.
And nothing is better for that than gaining the experience.
That's right. Get the experience or work with somebody with the experience. See, and I'm a true believer that if somebody works side beside you, see, they're going to get it regardless. They're going to absorb it regardless. You know what I'm saying? It's like some of our nephews, kids, sons, and daughters. You'd think what you was pounding in their head didn't get it. But guess what? They picked it up from mama or daddy. And some of the stuff you hear them say, you say, I heard that before. You may not have heard it from you, but you heard it from your mother, father, or auntie, or aunt. And they sound just like them.
This is the Wizard, WZRD Chicago, 88.3 FM. One more question, Omar. Do you, what do you see in the future for African American contractors?
Well, I hope I see that more African American contractors will become more legitimate builders in the community around, if it's in Chicago, Peoria, Rockford, or throughout the country, Atlanta, or whatever, to see more builders. I don't want to see more joint ventures and no builders, you see. And that's where our race it becomes a talent race, you know. And a lot of us want to be more managers than builders. And we need to have the people of African American descent to be more builders.
Do you have
because we losing that race.
Do you have programs to help ex-offenders get into the contracting business?
Yes, we do. The Jail for Jobs is the one program.
There we go.
The Jail for Jobs. And that's the one that gets you into the flaggers, get you into the laborers, get you into carpentry, the lead and asbestos removal, mediation classes. And see, our thing is that if you do the flaggers program, we get you right into the union. All right. If you do the lead and asbestos, you're packing on to your resume. All right. That means that you spent time to learn about a mediation, and now you got that 30-hour certificate. If you do the forklifting class, that means that now you have the capability, if we need to move wood, drywall, or whatever the material may be, if it's ceramic tile, marble tile, whatever, now we know that you're capable. And see, you're arming yourself. And see, and that's what we have to do. Just like you're arming yourself. You're not just saying, I just want to be a businessman. You say, I want to know a little bit about politics. I want a little bit about socialism. So now you're arming yourself with enough tools that you could function in basically any arena. And that's how we have to do in this industry that we're in construction. So anything regarding construction, training, management, professionalism, they should get it.
And you do have mentees, right?
Yes, we do. And if you have people, you can send them to us and we will help them get there. But they got to be determined. They got to want it. And what I find in my community a lot is it's a lot of women that push harder than some of our men. And that scares me. It don't scare me to the point that I'm upset women are pushing. It scares me to the point that I feel that the man should be somewhat that foundation to be able to take care of his kids, his family, and uphold his mother, sister, daughter, or grandfather, or grandmother that no longer can do what she used to do when he was a kid. And we have to do that, and that makes strong community and a strong civilization. That's how we live. We don't live where the parents are always taking care of the kid and he's 80 and 40 years old. He should be already equipped to take care of the family.
Wonderful.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you so
Thank you.
much, Omar Shareef of the African American Contractors Association, for joining us at Wizard today.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Thank you.
Excellent.
And thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. And if you record it, you gonna send me a copy of it?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah, the disc was full.
Mhm.
That's good.
Did you see
Mhm.
when it was full?
No, I didn't see when it was full, but we got other recordings too. Yeah, we definitely will. We'll put it on YouTube and we'll
Okay.
send you the link to the YouTube.
Okay, great. And then anything I could do to help if you want, if you get responses from the kids or the students and you want me to come back and do some call-ins or whatever you
Oh, that'd be
want,
great.
you know, and actually connect the dots. Because the good promotion is that if they could talk to somebody and get some real help
Mm-hmm.
from your broadcast or from your
Right.
community. And
Right.
if you have people over there at Roger Park
I do.
that's interested, I can come over there and talk to them and help them.
We hold monthly job fairs,
Okay, yeah, let me know.
and then we're also helping with expungements and different things like that.
Yeah, anybody that has those issues. See, we can help because see the union, we didn't talk about it.
Mm-hmm.
The union in the construction industry is really the last frontier where man or woman can have an X on their back and they can get a decent wage. See, the system gave this notion that once you got that X on your back, you're a burden like a cross or something that you can't do nothing in society no more but go back to jail.
Mm-hmm.
But that's only applied to, guess what? To federal jobs. To
Right.
jobs that don't allow ex-offenders on. It doesn't apply to everything. And you know what I tell young men and women that have issues with them, as I tell them peeing straight and not having something in their urine, is that you become an owner. And now you can ask for people's urine.
Mm-hmm.
You don't always want to be the one that's subject to, you want to be able to ask for it.
Right. And they believe that they can't vote in the
That's
state
right.
of Illinois.
That's
we
right.
Gotta, we got to educate them.
They got to educate them. Because see, that I find that's the biggest stumble when someone, because see, most of these kids be getting 10 years, 5, 10, 20 years. By that time they get 5, 10, 20 years, hell, they feel their life is over. So the only thing they got is to steal, rob,
Mm-hmm.
or take from somebody else. And they get to the point that, hell, I'm just going to take a chance or I'm going to just survive. And see, this epidemic now, it's not just now in these low-income areas. These thieves are getting smarter. They go into the areas that people live
Yep.
very relaxed now.
Mm-hmm.
And take data, they say, hell, I ain't going to where the high risk. I'm going where people don't have no high risk, where they leave their bikes on the lawn, where they leave their keys on the seat. I remember when I was in Peoria. That's the first time I ever saw, name of the restaurant. Oh my God, what is it? Culver's had just came to Peoria,
The
right?
butter burger.
The Butterburg.
Yeah.
Just came to Peoria, right? And so we out there, Fred and I, we out there under this little tent canopy outside. It was nice that day, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so this Caucasian lady just left her keys right on the car. Her car was right over there.
Jeez.
And I'm saying that she left the keys there. She went to the washroom. But you can't do that everywhere and come back. She came back, the keys were still there. So my point is that she was relaxed. And see, in certain areas, you get relaxed like that. You may leave your door open, your car open, and all, leave your windows cracked. But you can't do that in these big urban communities because they don't allow it. You remember back in the day when the community felt a little safer, they in certain areas you could pump your gas and then go in and pay.
Right.
I was so
that.
yeah, right. You remember I was so amazed. So listen, so now I was on Wabash and Roosevelt, right?
Mhm.
So this Caucasian guy, it was kind of cold outside. He gets out of the car. He trying to pump the gas. He putting the button. What the hell is going on here? He's like, I guess he had to go to work or meet him. He's like, what? I said, sir, you got to pay before you go. What type of madness is this? He was like, what type of madness? I said, he's so used to being in his own community. He's not
It's
used
in his
to,
own world.
That's right. I
Yeah.
said, he's not even so, he ain't used to coming downtown where they be stealing and taking stuff. And
Yep,
and
yep.
they had everything locked down.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
then, you know, they got us buying gas through the glass, and
Yep.
then they got us. We can't even get the other items that we want because the people that we asking for it from, they don't understand King English, and so we pointed at everything. No, not that. This.
Mhm.
And so now you frustrated. Just forget the shit. I don't even want it. I've seen all of that. I'm like,
Yeah.
what the heck? Yeah, it'd be something. Yeah, they do that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things that we didn't talk about was like the food deserts.
Yeah.
That's big in Lawndale.
Yeah.
There's nothing in Lawndale.
Nothing in Lawndale. You're right.
Yeah.
It's major in Lawndale.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all over that west side. There's nothing there.
And a whole bunch of empty lots.
Nope, there's nothing there.
Yeah.
The only thing you find Jewel by Oak Park.
Mm-hmm.
You find Mario in Oak Park.
Right.
There's no Mario on the south side. The only thing they have to go to is Sam's Club.
Is there anything in the works for to alleviate the food deserts?
Yeah, I think they are coming up with some stuff over in that Lundale area. A couple of my contractors over there on 16th and Pulaski.
They're trying.
Yeah,
They're trying, but
yeah.
it should have been 20 years ago, right?
I think, you know what I really think? The elected officials not pushing hard enough.
Mm-hmm.
And the problem we got too, we didn't talk about it, we sending too many people to represent us in government that have very little education
Mm-hmm.
and business skills, if you notice. Back in the day, when you had Helen Schiller and all these other people running, you know, and Slim and all them guys.
Yeah.
But, you know, we was looking for people that's lawyers, doctors, that's teachers, institutional people that was educators and what have you. Now, Joe Blow pop up, he's making $80,000, $90,000 he never made in his entire life.
Yep.
He's now introduced to all the riches of the world of the males, the Burks and the Verdolac, those type of people that he never had exposure to, and so he think he's in seventh heaven. He's like a little kid we take to Disney World. He's like, all this goes on here?
Mm-hmm.
I could get a skybox seat? I could walk in here without that?
Yeah.
Yeah. And
But he
he,
doesn't understand the work. And,
that's right.
Mhm.
Doesn't know how to take care of the community.
No. And that's the sad part. And they don't know how to give back to the community which they take from. You can't keep pulling apples and oranges and grapes off a tree and you don't water it. It died.
Right.
Mm-hmm. That's
It
true.
really do. It died.
That's true. That in the chamber we get donations, food donations from different restaurants and things, but we always get what we need. We always do,
Mm-hmm.
but we don't ask very often,
Right.
and that's why we get what we need.
That's right.
When
That's
we do ask.
Yep, that's the same thing with us. We do a coat drive, we do 1,000 coat drive, if we get 300, 400 coats, and we go to the shelters and give them out.
Mhm.
I can't wear the coats, I give them out.
Yeah.
I don't care. I said, as long as you take a picture, I give it to the sponsors and show them what the coats they gave
What
us
happened?
that happened
What
to
came
them.
of it?
That's right.
Right.
You know,
We work
as long as
with-
they go to
yeah.
a good call, I'm good.
We work with an organization that gives suits to people who are job seekers.
Yep, that's good stuff.
Different things like that.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Mhm.
Well, invite me over sometime.
You will. Let me give you our job fair flyer.
Okay, that'll work.
It's coming up in our upcoming events. I got them in my backpack over here.
Okay.
Excellent. Yes, of course.
Oh,
You don't have no
Thank you so
business
much.
card, nothing, do you?
I do.
Please, can I have one?
Yes.
And I gave you my card, right?
And that's right.
I get close.
Beautiful.
Let's see what we got here. Got our job fair here. There you go with a couple different
When
items.
is it?
It's coming up.
Okay.
And,
31st.
and we got other upcoming events here as well. Financial literacy workshops.
Oh, okay. That's
All
good.
kinds of different things.
Okay, then I'm gonna try to come to a couple of them. I'm
That
gonna try to
sounds
see if
great.
we get the job fair thing, cause I got some stuff to pass out. I
Excellent.
got books, hats, all
please
types
do.
of stuff.
And this one we're going to be doing expungement on job registrations. It'll be perfect.
Okay, and then and I could talk to a few of the people,
Mhm.
and then I can give them some information about the flaggers and all that.
That sounds excellent.
Beautiful. Job registrations on the laptop. We will have expungement help. And we will help with a gang database search for anyone who wants to know whether they are on the gang database. We will help to FOIA for your information. The Rogers Park Job Fair will take place in the Teal Room at 6956 North Glenwood Avenue,